I'm ready.
Okay. Because our energy needs to join each other. And so when we take hold of your hands, our energy passes on, peaks, and replaces whatever they say, whatever has your mind busy. So it's almost like we come through ground and then we go over. But most of all, knowing that when we meet eye to eye, a lot of us will say, we don't remember their name. But I said, we always remember the eyes, because our eyes are the mirrors of our souls, I think, we almost feel. And so when we took hold of your hand, we passed on a gift. And that gift is I care. I care. And that's what we have. You notice when somebody shakes a hand, kind of, okay? So I have to get and hold on to give them a gift, and that's what it is. So Sego se what puedo, Ganadisa young kids. Ganadisa is what they call, is what I am called. Ganadisa means she completes. Isn't a typical job for me? Well, I have been doing that job for many. I always say when my hair was black, because even as a young child, you know what you have to do when you're on top. You know, there's things that you must do. And so we were groomed in our way to always share place, silence, goodness, and that's what we need to do now. It's like this language. You hear all the time, you must learn your language.
Dale,
so
hold this closer so we can hear it.
Oh my goodness.
We want to hear you.
Oh, okay. So having this opportunity of coming together, even us sitting in a circle, 2, 4, 6, 8, that's equal. Equality, equal. And notice we have a balance here, men and women. That shows a lot for the future. That shows that everybody's going to come together as equal, and that's why it plays a very important role, that we learn how to be equal with one another. So we'll just wait a few minutes. We make our circle bigger by just stepping.
Hi there.
Just move it. Learn the first is love for one another. That's love, and that's what we come here to share, this language of love and of peace, because everything of our body. And so I'm going to turn it over.
Where is she?
Where is she? So you have to turn it around.
Now this is tricky. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I think I can probably do that.
All right.
I think I can probably do well. Beautiful evening. The sun is there, and it's giving us that nighttime blessing. And there are ways that we need to start honoring that sun. So first thing in the morning, first that beautiful essence of the sun, magic, of course. So we're looking at and it's right there. You can't be well, then maybe you know that time. And so what we do is we give thanks for the beautiful day, give thanks and thank you that it's helped
We can't hear anything.
Keep his attention there.
Yeah, thanks for letting us know.
Oh, now we can. Oh, awesome.
No.
Lonnie, apologies.
Oh, no problem. I didn't want to interrupt.
No, no,
You did.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. Lonnie, tell us where you and Leslie are.
Well, we are in the middle of nowhere in Republic, Washington, about 30 minutes south of the Canadian border, in north central Washington, amongst many, many trees.
Wonderful, wonderful. Lonnie has a remarkable story he'll be sharing later in these next days. So I'm going to continue with this orientation where
You need to start really, at least for a 30-second introduction for people that heard nothing but saw your lips move.
So I've been encouraged to go back to what I began to say. So what I began to say, thank you, Andrew.
Who are you and where are we?
So we have our great impresario. So I'm Stuart Weeks, and I'm the founder of the Center for American Studies, and we are in Concord. And the center is centered in Concord, but we're all over the country and the world. And I was orienting us to where we are, and I said, we are in Monument Square, which is the center of Concord. And for many, it's the center of Massachusetts, not all. And even the center of our country, there are millions of tourists who come here every year. And these aspiring United States of ours are for many the center of the world, for better and for worse. The slope, as I mentioned, being a slippery one. So what do we find here in the center of the center of the center of the center? What we find are three monuments in front of you devoted to men and to war. And those monuments are most prominent, outstanding. You really couldn't miss them. The obelisk, this great stone monument for World War I, and the other end of Monument Square, the Spanish-American War. Off in the delicate shadows of Monument Square are three other monuments, nearly invisible, devoted to the woman, to a matriarchal people, and to peace. The point being, in German, there's this word Zwiegespräch, which means two speaking together, or I translate in English as a heart to heart. That here in the center of the center of the center of the center, there's a kind of heart to heart going on about how the masculine and the feminine, I would say, can truly find one another. Can truly find one another. And this is a theme that is central to this weekend with our grandmothers. So the last thing I'd like to say is at the bottom of the monument to World War I, or if one starts at the far end of the Spanish-American War, you have a star, you have a beautiful sculpture, you have words of honor and praise. The same thing with the Civil War, a little less with World War I, the war to end all wars. In the bottom of it, Emerson writes about how the youth hear the call and take up arms and step into war. Again, this was meant to be the war to end all wars. Only about 10 years ago, these other monuments here to the right, the other monuments, crept into this realm of the women of a matriarchal people and to peace. Because the wars went on, a Second World War, a Korean War, an Iraq War, and others. What's particularly striking, as I mentioned, at the bottom of the boulder here, across the street, World War I, are these words from Emerson. And if you look at these monuments over here to the right, which have no stars and no beautiful carvings and no Bible verses, and really no even honoring the fallen, it's just names. bear plaques, which says something about our relationship, I would suggest, to war. But of real note, of the few Concordians who died in World War II was an Emerson. Ralph Waldo says the youth will respond and take up the arms. Of note, of the few Concordians who died in Vietnam is an Emerson. What are those chances? What's being said in this Zwiegespräch, this heart to heart between the masculine and the feminine? So just to wrap up, I was talking about these three other monuments, nearly invisible, devoted to peace. The marker of the jail that speaks of the jail that Thoreau went to for refusing to pay taxes in the war against Mexico. I was noting Jethro's tree, the sign where the treaty between the native peoples and the settlers occurred, which didn't establish, I was saying, a Greenland or a Mount Vernon or a Waterville. That is, it wasn't named after nature, Concord, and it wasn't named after the old world, New Bedford, New Ipswich, New London, but is named Concord. Concord has four meanings. Concord means covenant. Concord with an E means peace and harmony, concord. Concord means with the heart. And Concord also means, I've been told by a native daughter of Concord, follow nature. So the town that was established has these four cornerstones: covenant, peace or harmony, with a heart, and follow nature. The third monument devoted to the mother was here for many years, and then a new priest came and he moved it to the other side of the building. It was the Pieta statue of Mary holding Christ in her arms, a monument, I would say, to the mother. It's the only replica of the Pieta of the same marble as the original Pieta, and nobody knows how it came to Concord. We know it's here, but there's nothing in the records that explains how it arrived. So I just want to offer that as an orientation. We're embarking upon these 3 days with our native grandmothers around this question of peace, because this Concord Congress, as modest as it really is, takes a name in relationship to the Albany Congress. And the Albany Congress in 1754 invited the Iroquois elders, and we have 2 Iroquois grandmothers with us, to counsel them, because the colonies knew they needed to confederate, but they didn't know how to do it. And they needed the wisdom of the Iroquois. And we took up much of which they offered, except for the role of the woman. And our grandmothers can say this much better than I, but what I've been told is it was the women who determined whether their sons and husbands and brothers and fathers would go to war or not. And if the chiefs didn't listen, they were set aside. So that, by way of orientation of where we are, a small seed-like group, and starting in the center of the center of the center of the center, in this heart-to-heart between the masculine and the feminine. So how should we proceed?
We had a wonderful ceremony this morning far away in Weeks Forest State Park in New Hampshire with these 2 wonderful Native American ceremony creators, Grandma Renee and Gail Whitlow. I'm Scott McLeod, and I'm visiting from Penns Woods, Pennsylvania, and am glad to see and hear what what's happening this evening. Are you Quaker? I am a Quaker. I'm a member of the Religious Society of Friends, unprogrammed Quakers. Yes, but how are we proceeding?
Okay, so
Probably since you spoke, then you should go next to Deborah.
Yeah, we go around this.
If you wish to introduce yourself, otherwise the gentleman here right will remind you.
Hello, I'm Deborah Pierce, and I live here in Concord with my husband, Grant. And I'm happy to be here in Concord for all the wonderful history and movements and writers and thinkers. And it's a wonderful opportunity to meet with the Iroquois grandmothers, whose presence I'm sure will have a change effect for all of us here, but the town and who knows beyond Concord. So we appreciate your effort for driving here to be with us. And I guess one reflection is I do appreciate the Iroquois grandmothers' language always to be focused on beautiful words. You are always talking about peace and joy and finding the positive things around us. So it's lovely to be in the same company as you.
Thank you. Well, greetings. This is Andrew Williams Jr. And you are, in fact, in the middle of another conversation with Andrew Williams Jr. We began this journey back in 2013. So all of you are among our 10-year anniversary. But we are here in Concord, and we, in a nod to my guest here, or at least my host here, Stuart Sinclair Weeks, the Center for American Studies at Concord, we're having Concordian conversations here in the city of Concord. And I'm very pleased to say that I've met all these people around me more than once. And I'm very pleased to introduce them to all of you around the world. This is being live streamed on Facebook. For those of you that have an account, it's the AHIABGA-TV network. If you can find it there, or just look for Andrew Williams Jr. and you can find a replay of that here. I'm going to pass this around to our next guest.
Thank you. I don't use these gadgets almost at all in principle, but my name is Arthur Bogomil Burton since 1988. And
You look kind of young for that.
one of the reasons that I'm still in Concord since 2018 is Stuart Weeks. That week he had organized between the 4th of July 2018 at all these writers' houses and here. And there was the lady chief Brainhands. In her memory, peace, she's departed. Her daughter played a beautiful Indian flute and Mohawk Indian special knelt in front of his knees to apologize for his people fighting her people who were not fighting. So that's a special memory. I have walked all over the world with groups and alone since 1992, the first long walk for the native people to counter the 500 years in Columbus and to stop nuclear testing in Nevada. I walked then from New York City, United Nations, to the nuclear test site and then to San Francisco, coast to coast. It was a special journey for Mother Earth. That was the walk across America for Mother Earth. And 98, 99, we walk from the Peace Pagoda next to Amherst, New England Peace Pagoda, all the way to South Africa. For the other major genocide of this America. So we just had a reunion on Juneteenth Day, 25 years since we had started, and now Juneteenth is an official holiday, federal, like Columbus Day is Indigenous Peoples Day, what we were trying to make that year 92. So I am very grateful to be in this circle. From that walk with the native people, we were in so many circles across the whole continent. So it's a special, and also being a pacifist and conscientious objector, influenced a lot by Tolstoy and Gandhi. They were, Gandhi and Vinoba were speaking that women's power is coming to balance the male patriarchal militaristic system all over the world. And I'm grateful and blessed to have met ladies that are making all the difference in this country and in many other countries. So thank you. And Stuart, it's special to, you know, on the 4th of July, the one side they read Declaration of Independence, on the other side Frederick Douglass speech, and now we make another way with the mothers especially.
We didn't hear you the first time, so we have to do it again. Turn around.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Hollywood do-over. Introduce yourself.
Sego Sewa Fuego, Kahtine and Youngets. Kahtine means to take a lasso and to throw it over a forest and to draw it in. And what is a forest and what is it that we need to draw in? So a forest is a community. It does not become a forest if there's one tree. A forest needs all different types of trees. It needs all different types of animals and birds and, you know, everything we need. It's an inclusive environment that doesn't function properly unless it has all components to it. So when I had to think about that name at first, it was like, what's that name about, you know? But in reality, I've come to know that that's a very powerful name, and to carry it is a blessing, and to carry it is makes me whole. And so we get a lot from our names. And if you don't have a name, or if your name was taken away, like I have a great grandfather that came from, well, it was either Ireland, I think it was Ireland or British Isles, and he was just given a name, you know. And they did that when they took our children and put them in residential schools. They stripped them of their name and they gave them a name, you know, and it was John, and just really simple, you know, type names. And because they knew that a name defined you. And so what they were trying to do is break us as people. And it worked. You know, it worked in many respects, that they took away a lot from us. But we're here to reverse that. And we're here to create a new paradigm in time. And we're here to bring the beauty of all of us gathered together as people, and bring us to a new understanding of what it's like to be human. And even recently, they're trying to change the human context into a new something. I forget what they're trying to call us now. They're saying that humans have come to an end and we're now advancing to something different, whatever that is. And angels, yes. Well, we know we're angels. Yes, we definitely know we're angels. So, you know, we have to look for the beauty. We have to really look in order to find the beauty, because a lot of times we get so caught up in everything else, and no matter what, we have to look for something. And whether it be looking up at the sky and looking at the clouds and seeing formations, looking up at the nighttime sky, looking into that water and seeing the ripples, but also seeing something else and feeling something else. You know, we have to like really make a difference in our perception of what is real and what is not. We are being told what is real. And when you're told something, you know that it's probably not real. You know, so I believe that our mission as grandmothers is to bring together a more balanced family, bring together a more balanced community, and bring together a more a bigger world family. And our teachings talk about that. We talk about the 4 roots of peace. And I know you wanted more information on that. So we will be talking, we will address what that means, you know, those 4 roots of peace, and how it is the foundation for that world coming together. And it's been mentioned, you know, that we want peace throughout the world, but in reality, night comes and day comes, and everything is in balance that way. And there will be times when there are war going on at the same time as peace. That's just the nature of the beast, because we have to understand that war is teaching us something. And so whether we learn what it's teaching, but it shifts. It was on this continent. It's been on every continent, and we have to understand that it causes us to reflect. So in as much as we don't want war, sometimes it is part of a balance that we need to understand, because we have to keep learning, and we have to quit making the same mistakes over and over. You know, if we're going to continue to war, why? You know, that's a discussion that people have to have. Why is there war? And why? What is peace? You know, peace is not something that is easy to define. And it's like happiness. Oh, I want to be happy. But what is happiness? Because if you look at happiness, happiness means something different to everyone, because everyone has undergone a certain life. And one example I'll give you is serial killer. What is happiness for a serial killer? You know, just thinking about that makes you really think, what is the definition of happiness? So a lot of our words need more definition to them. And that's the beauty of different languages and different cultures, because there are words to explain, you know, all of these beautiful words that we talk about. So we have like 3 days to, you know, talk more. So I'll pass this right now, but the discussion needs to get real as well. So there are going to be times when the discussion is going to be real. And sometimes it kind of like makes you stand back a little bit, but we've lived that, you know, we've lived all of those trials and tribulations, and we have a lot to share because of that. So now I'll go, and we'll see you probably tomorrow.
Sego, Sewakwego, Ganadisa youngest, Wagatsione, Gonya Dehene. Ganadisa means she completes. And that's a typical job for a grandma. And being a grandma is the professor of life. And the grandmother has more authority than, as they say, in guidance. And everyone should understand that a grandmother has been through a lot. And that's why we have that story about grandmother, that first woman that fell from sky, and how she went through a lot of challenges and trials. And she had testings. And if it wasn't for her stories, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be here today, because I would have all those doubt and fears as typical in all of us. Sometimes we get lost in our fears and our doubts, but knowing that some place in my life I can make change. And so I look around and I remember what she was taught, how she was to recover, to renew her life. And that renewal come from, as you heard from Stuart talking about monuments. Well, I look at these trees, they are frontline workers. Those trees play a very important role in taking care of us, but nobody understands. And they destroy them. They don't realize that these trees, they're our heroes. They have been warriors. They have been taking care of what man has caused, and that is pollution. What is the gift of the tree? It's to take away all the negative from you and give back a gift of love and kindness. That's where you'll find every child is by a tree. And you wonder why they say hug a tree? Because it has that unconditional love. And that tree is also medicine. And I look up to the tree and I think of the tree of life. And so when I was going through a lot of challenges, that's what humanism is all about. All of us have had pain. All of us has gone through a lot of trials and testing. And that's what a grandma is all about. She'll tell you how to get through it, because that's what the grandmother moon, we talk about grandmother moon and how she's there on a regular basis. She has never left you. And then we look at the earth. Now that's a mother that loves you unconditionally. She has never abandoned anyone. She doesn't matter who you are, she loves you. And she'll give you the gifts that you need to survive. So I see all the frontline workers. Those are our heroes. Those are the ones that we need to acknowledge every day. You see, they are our monuments. And when I see a tree being cut down, it hurts. It really hurts. Because they don't realize what they are doing is taking away those grandfathers, those grandmothers, those old trees that were meant to be here to take care of us, to hold us up. And one time I was helping a young man going through a loss of his friend. And so we walked together on sharing about grief. And I said, you can look at trees and you can look at all these things that talk about grief. And so one day while we were out riding, he said, we were going down this one road, and there was a tree in the middle of the field, and it was stripped of its bark. It was stripped of its branches, but it was still standing there. And that's what he said to me. He says, that's you. He says, that's you. And I went, I'm stripped? And he says, that's what happened. All that trauma took a lot out of you. He said, but you're still standing. You're still giving love. And that's the most important thing. And so the tree has offered so much more than a shade. The tree has offered us sanctuary, has given us our medicines. How many of you ate a piece of bark? How many of you ate a twig? How many of you have ate the roots? How many have had that tasting of that leaf? That's medicine. And so those medicines are very important to help us to overcome that grief that we so much have been carrying, and we forget to let it go. And that's what has caused a lot of grief and wars today. Wars amongst themselves, wars within themselves. And as a grandma, because my grandma taught me how to cry. My grandma taught me how to cry. And that's my job, to teach you how to cry. Because the most important gift you got is that water inside you. And people are been shamed because they said, don't you cry. I'll give you something to cry about. And so we have forgotten how to use that most powerful gift to renew ourselves, to reclaim back our power. so that we do not have to take pills or drugs or all these other things that we want a relief. You know, the simple way of relieving of a lot of hurt, that pain that's inside you, is to cry. And I cry on a regular basis because I want to make sure I'm going to be well and hold up peace. Hold peace in my heart is the most important thing of life. And so I bring you that gift that the trees and all the plants and everything of the natural world, how it gives us a reason to think, to know that we are loved and that we have never been neglected. You know, our parents grow on to this, back to the sky world, but I still have a mother that loves me. I still have a grandfather and a grandmother. This is why he created them, as a family. And this is what we need to bring back to the people, that everything around you is your family. They are here to take care of you. And that's the message I, as a grandmother, have come to share, so that you can have peace. Because every time you swear, every time you scream out at someone, you are hurting yourself more than you're hurting anyone. And the Creator has given us this unique body. Our bodies are so unique that we can heal. We can heal. But we always say, it's too hard. It's too hard. It's too hard to cry. It's too hard to share. And so as a result, we become sick and we cause war within ourselves and with others. And so the mission is our purpose in life. We come here for a bigger purpose, and that is to have PEACE, peace, and to SHARE, share peace. That's our responsibility, and that's our duty, is to share. When you take up war, you are destroying the most sacredness of you. And that's why they said a long time ago, when a man and a husband and a wife, the man could not go hunting while his wife was carrying a child. That's how important life is. And, you know, today I have had families, my own father, my brothers, my uncles, my great grandfathers that went to war because they were told there was evil out there and we got to protect our people. But that was a lie. Because I remember how they tried to turn us against other people. They used, long time ago, nations against nation. They would take some of my property and they would leave it. And I would look as if I was the one that had done that. And so we're finding out through history how things have been done that way. And that we have been misled. It takes a lot out of your person to kill. It takes a lot. And that's when they go to that place, it means they have to be renewed again. And we have tools. We've been given these methods to help those people that have, we call it at wood's edge, to help them, to bring them back to who they are. And we had ceremonies that would restore that spirit. And so these are things that we have done for the people today. Today, we still can use those gifts to help those people that have been traumatized. I've been traumatized just like the rest of you. We all been traumatized. And so the most important thing is I learned from nature. My grandmother went to residential school, but the land took out that trauma in her body and in her heart because the land healed her. And she was a magnificent gardener. She had her food she didn't have to worry about food because that love came back into her. And it showed by all the food, and all the people would come from around the community and she said, take what you need. And that's the way we used to be. Take what you need. And that's why we have all these belts. These belts talk about honoring and respecting. And that goes back to the 2-row. And so as a grandma, this is my duty to remind you how much you are loved and how much you are cared for. But most of all, is a hug can cure a lot of things. It brings back that spirit to know that you are loved and you are cared for. And this is why I came here in 2014. I went to the UN. And as grandmothers, we were 4 Indigenous women that came here, and from the east, northwest, and south. And what we did was we did ceremony outside the UN. I said, we're going to do ceremonies for all those people that one day they will come and stand beside us. And look what's happened. Look at, I am so grateful to have you with us, to stand together for all the coming faces for those children. And the most beautiful thing is I brought out the belt and I asked them to make that commitment again, that they are here to renew that commitment their forefathers had made with our forefathers a long time ago, that we all come together and walk together for creating a better world for our children. And that's where our grandma, I love that duty. I want you to join me and stand with me and help us to speak for the land, the air, and the water, because that's for our children. We need to protect our children. That's a real strong love. That's why we are reminded. We are reminded when you see the tree, how much he has given to us. And that's why we have these big winds today, because man has alternate creation. And so we're having fires, we're having these storms, we're having floods, because man alternate creation. They have taken down the trees and they put in those little trees, but those little trees are just like you putting in your children standing there to fight for the peace of all kind. So we need to stand up for these trees, even those ones that are stripped of the bark, that one that right there, because that tree is also a home for many, many creation, but it's also a very important part because it holds up the other trees, its roots. It's still important. And so that's why we look at a grandma and a grandpa. They play a very important role in our lives. So I say, Yawa, miigwech, and take care.
How can people reach you? How can people reach you? Good.
How can people reach me?
Why don't you answer that question?
Oh, how can people reach me? Well, there's so many ways. Grandmother's Voice. Go on YouTube, Grandmother's Voice. Also, there's so many other people that we have come and shared. Someone knows us, and so you can talk to them and they know where to find us.
grandmothersvoice.com.
Oh, see, I'm just a great grandmother and I don't know this technology yet. So it's grandmothersvoices.com.
Grandmothersvoice.
Oh, grandmothersvoice.com. Hope to see you.
Oh, thank you very much. It's going to be hard to follow that. Yes, yes. So Grant Pierce, I live here in Concord. Been here for 7 years, which makes us newcomers in Concord. But I'll just talk about the appreciation of trees and the gentleman, I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
I'm Scott McLeod.
Scott McLeod. Oh, he's wearing a Quakers for Peace t-shirt. And so it just kind of reminds me of my family roots, actually, because my family came over as Quakers to Pennsylvania, and they settled and founded a town called Concord Meeting. Another Concord. And they settled there, but they were very, very good arborists. So they went around the country gathering all kinds of different kinds of trees. And they brought it to their farm in Concord meeting and they planted them there. And people started to recognize these trees and they came to visit them. And eventually it was time to sell the farm. But a man named Pierre Dupont loved these trees and he couldn't see this farm being sold to like a lumber company and have them chopped down. Now, Pierre Dupont was known for making gunpowder, instruments of war, right? But he settled in this farm that, you know, that had all these trees in it, and he planted lots and lots of flowers. And so now his legacy really is not the instrument of war, but actually this beautiful park called Longwood Gardens that people come to enjoy the trees. And the trees that my forefathers had planted way back in 1685 are still there, trees that are still alive, all kinds of trees. And so you can walk down the grove and you can really feel their presence. And so I think back to this time when somebody who was a profiteer of war saved the trees and really transformed his legacy in a way because of it. But now we're here in Concord, Massachusetts, and we have the great honor to be here in the circle and to host the grandmothers. I'd just like to point out that, you know, I'm not a Quaker, but I am a member of the Baha'i faith, and central tenets to the Baha'i faith are the equality of men and women, the elimination of racial prejudices of all kinds, and the unification of all peoples of the world. So in other words, the achievement of what we call the most great peace, the elimination of war altogether. So that's kind of where we are now, but it's such a wonderful honor to have met you and to be your host and to be amongst the circle. Thank you very much. And thank you. Thank you to Stuart for convening this Concord Congress in 2023, Stuart Sinclair Weeks. Thank you to the grandmothers for coming from Canada, Ontario, Canada, and facilitating this wonderful Native American ceremony this morning in New Hampshire. I'm Scott McLeod and have been to one other Concord Congress, I think one could call it, some 5-10 years ago. I'm developing an MIT OpenCourseware centric set of 200 online free universities for free degrees. So free degrees on the one hand, matriculate in by taking a CS First with Google at World University and School Scratch language course. And on the other hand, wiki schools for open teaching and learning. And we want to be in all known living languages. So Grandmother Renee knows 5 Native American languages, and we would like to be in all of those languages, each a wiki school for people-to-people teaching and build community around that online. And I haven't added any of the languages that Grandmother Renee this morning talked to me about and told me she knew yet, but perhaps I will this evening or even tomorrow. We'll see. We can all create wiki schools, people to people. We would also like to code for all 7.9 billion people on the planet. And in order to facilitate universal education, wiki, people to people teaching and learning communities, but also for some other reasons, perhaps to even end poverty by facilitating, giving everyone Stanford Mind Pi cryptocurrency, free money daily, and that UBI experiments, so universal basic income experiments. These are some things that worlduniversityandschool.org is facilitating, and one reason why I come to this Concord Congress. You were talking this morning of our ancestors, your ancestors, all of our ancestors, and it made me think that we all go back to the beginning of life, trees as well, 3.5 billion years ago. And one fascinating new development that Harvard and MIT professor of genetics is heralding, named George Church, is the possibility for aging reversal genetic drug therapies, and also longevity genetic drug therapies, synthetic biology, molecules, adding genes back into us. It's possible we'll live longer than 123 years of age, and also to potentially, with regard to worlduniversityandschool.org, maybe redefine what lifelong learning is. If we live longer than, say, 100 more years, will we learn in new ways, such as you've taught us today earlier in New Hampshire, and you teach us here tonight? And will we also navigate further sort of free MIT OpenCourseware centric degrees in new ways? These are all interesting questions. World University and School is very much friendly leading. So we would like to be free and make it available to all people in the world, and perhaps in conversation with the Center for American Studies Global Village University, which is also on the Concordium-US website. I don't have the URL correct exactly, but so greetings and thank you again. This is wonderful sharing in New Hampshire earlier today and right now. And Sherry Ann Noble.
Hello, I cannot top what everyone else has said. I am south of here on the south coast in Weymouth, but I've been up to New Hampshire today as the taxi.
More than your tax.
And a happy participant. It's an honor and incredibly humbling to be with the grandmothers. I so appreciate you coming. And I grew up climbing trees in upstate New York. I love trees. And yes, I am a grandmother, but we are here together. And that I find so helpful and so hopeful. As we come together, building new languages, building new education, building new ways to relate. One of my sayings is, we are one people and we share one home, this place we've named planet Earth. It's time to find new and better ways to do it together, bringing the wisdom from the past forward with everything on the technology and the URLs and all of the websites and all of the ways we can share communication. What better place to do it in a community named Concord with people, quite frankly, from, I think here from all over the world in their own way. And with that, I give back to, or I'm not sure.
So Sherry is modest. She's also done wonderful work with others to invite the Cleveland Indian baseball team to think about what they're communicating with that name. And her work, her diligence, her perseverance, her motherly sense of doing what's right had an effect. And she continues with that work. I just want to share a little anecdote that for me speaks to the heart of what we're doing for me. And that is over here, you can see maybe through the trees, the first parish church of Concord. And since Concord was the first non-native inland community, as opposed to an outpost or settlement, this is America's first inland parish. And a number of years ago, the Humanist Society invited Harvard's head of the Humanist Society to come out and speak. And this was a humanism that kind of approached atheism. He gave a remarkable talk. And I went up to him afterwards with a bit of a twinkle in my eye. And I said to him, that was one of the most spirited conversation talks I've ever heard. And he was a bit dumbfounded. And he said, spirited? What do you mean? Well, I was acting more out of an intuition, so I had to reflect for a moment. And I shared with him a conversation I had with a dear friend of mine. And she said to me, Stuart, I'm an atheist. This was at dinner. and I paused and I heard myself say, no, you are a theist. So I just separated the word atheist and made it two words, a theist, which means the opposite of an atheist. And she paused for a moment. And then she said, how did you know? Well, I had a further question to try to figure out. So I paused and I heard myself saying, because you began by saying, I am. I am an atheist. I am a theist. I am whatever. I am. Thoreau says I to myself should become the motto of my journals. We share that in common, this I am, which transcends everything. And the head of the atheist or the Humanist Society from Harvard, he said to me, James Croft, he said, you're saying something important. I'd have to think about it all night long. I am. That unites us.
We've already done the rounds. You need to introduce your guest.
So we are here with Lonnie Williams, who's has a remarkable story that I can't do justice to alone now. He will speak tomorrow evening. He was brought to his knees and he arose. And he arose in the spirit of public service. And so he started a pamphlet called The Pamphlet, harking back to Tom Paine, and an independent party that has touched 30 other nations. And this weekend, we're doing a number of things in this Concord Congress. We'll spend a bit of time tomorrow evening to inaugurating the citizens movement to revive the spirit of public service. And Lonnie will be with us to speak, along with the founder of the One People's Tribal Nation, which is an extraordinary impulse. So with that, it's time to close. I give it.
Of course, just a moment.
Tonight also is full moon, and it's a special full moon after the summer solstice. It's also Guru Purnima. In India, Guru Purnima, that's a day for honoring the Guru, the teacher, and the moon is the closest to the earth from all full moons throughout the year. So it's tonight. And one other thing, I'm part of the Concord Peace Vigil every Friday morning since the 90s. Around the flagpole there for 1 hour.
We are camera.
But there left very few and elderly people. So I always mention it. If there's some new ones can come for even just that 1 hour.
What time?
Friday morning at 8 a.m. there. And I often point to this side of the Civil War Monument.
Point the camera where you're from.
The Civil War Monument. It says that the consciousness of all of us comes to be faithful unto life, war will be impossible.
Thank you so very much. Alani, any closing words from you? I can see you. I think you can speak loud enough for us to hear you if you like.
Thanks for the opportunity. It's obviously once I get started talking, there's a lot to it, but I can't really blame my journey on myself or my own actions or fruitions. It's following God. And that's my message for everyone is we each have a special part in this world. we each have a special place and a divine mission that we were created for in this time. And we know that we live in dark times, and we know that unthinkable things are to happen, but we also know that through love and understanding, miracles are possible, and coming together in ways that we've never came before to try and understand one another, to try and bridge gaps, and to stop the division in this country that has broken families and communities. But I'm honored and thankful to have an opportunity. My wife and I are, I think, speaking tomorrow, so we're looking forward to that. And it's just trying to figure it all out. We're all just trying to figure out how we got here.
All right. Well, thank you so very much. Much love to your wife. And
God bless you.
scan this round one more time, and we're going to wrap it up when that gets back to me. Thank you so much. Love to all. Andrew Williams Jr. You can find this replay on my Facebook page as well. Andrew Williams Jr. Thank you.